Hi guys, welcome back. I am Stu and this is Venus Ponds for Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic. On a faraway planet, this area of land needs turning into a theme park. Your objective, to have at least 1,600 guests in your park at the end of October, year 4, with a park rating of at least 600. So this is it then. This is it, Dog Day Afternoon, the last but one scenario of the normal game. We are 94 scenarios in, just one more to go after this. I've seen the synopsis for the next one and it looks quite simple. It's a very small value based scenario, looks easy. This one, however, is the last guest and rating target that we're going to play. So I'm expecting this one to be quite difficult simply because it's the last but one scenario of the game, and if it was me, I would make this one tough. So let's have a look then. We are charging for rides. It's free admission into the park. What rides do we have to start with? We've got a couple of transport rides, nothing much in the way of gentle rides, not a bad selection of coasters. We won't be needing to look at them anytime soon. A good selection of rides. You'll notice that this top spin is a slightly different color to what you normally see, and that's simply because this here, it's not lava, it's water that they've just colored orange, and what they've done is they've changed the blue color that this is for that's normally for the water to the orange, and that's why then you'll see that this top spin is orange. And also when you look at in the balloons and the hat stall shops, you'll see that some of the blues have been replaced with orange. No water rides and not a bad selection of shops. So I think what I'm going to do then, I'm going to put my initial research into, have a guess, thrill rides. And there's a reason for that, and that is because I'm a bit wary that this scenario might have one of those guest caps, like an artificial limit on the guest generation, like a harder mode, which on this doesn't really translate very well. I'm not sure what it's like on PC, but on this it feels like an artificial barrier that prevents you getting higher guest numbers, and the only way around it really is to advertise. So if that is the case, I want to hit that the guest cap as soon as possible. So what I'm going to do then, this area up here is relatively flat. I mean, compared to the rest of the park, it is anyway. So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to put some shops and whatever and build some pathing loops, and I'm going to spam as many thrill rides as we've got just along here, because if there is that guest cap, I want to hit it soon so we can plan for the next stage. So I'm going to crack on. I'll see you in a bit. It is October year 1. We've got just under 1,000 guests in the park. We've got 4 rotor drops, 3 drop towers. We've got an Enterprise, 3 3D cinemas, a couple of pirate ships, 3 top spins, 3 motion simulators, and a partridge in a pear tree. No, we haven't. We've got 2 reverse fall roller coasters just up there. Yeah, there was a little space on the end. I thought I'd just ram them in just to get some extra money from them. Guest numbers looking okay. It's doing all right so far. It doesn't look like it's, oh, it looks like it might be starting to plateau, but who knows, it might go back up then. So I don't know yet. If it does plateau and we hit a cap, I will let you know. But so far so good. We've got tons of guests coming in. We're making decent cash considering we haven't really got that much in the way of coasters down. We're researching shops, so we're putting a load of those down as well because that helps with the cash. And I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start building some path loops just around here and down here and whatever. This would probably be a better spot maybe to start with. And I'm just going to start building some roller coasters then. But so far, pretty good. It is May year 2, so we have hit a guest cap then. I can see that from the way the guest numbers have plateaued and stayed like it, despite the fact that I've added 3 inverted swinging ships and also 2 roller coasters. We've got a junior coaster here, decent excitement on that, and a compact inverted coaster here, good excitement on that as well. So one way I can sort of demonstrate the guest cap, and don't worry, I've saved the game, so we're all good. We can do whatever we want, and the game won't be a problem because we can just reload it. So I'll put a no entry sign there. So at the moment, as you can see, the guest numbers are flat, so there's a constant stream of guests leaving and there's a constant stream of guests coming in. Now let's run it on fast forward. So now there's no guests leaving, and all of a sudden the amount of guests coming into the park slows to a complete trickle. There's a few more, but that's it, hardly any. So that is the artificial cap shown visually. So we'll have a constant, there you go, as soon as the guests leave the park there's a constant stream of guests coming in. So what will happen is eventually we'll hit the guest cap again, and the same thing will happen. The actual number of guests in the park will start to plateau again. So I don't like it, but at least we know we've got it active on this scenario, so we can do things to remedy it. So we are going to need to advertise then. There won't be a way of doing it without that. But what we can do is we can plan ahead and we can start ramming up some of the prices, £20 umbrellas, that sort of thing. Build cheap and cheerful coasters, because we are going to need a lot of money later on in the game when we advertise, and we'll probably be advertising the last 2 years of the game. It's a 4-year scenario, so we'll run it till the end of this year, and then we'll probably start advertising next year. It is October year 2, still the same amount of guests in the park. Then we've got a spiral coaster just here, good excitement on that. We've got this inverted hairpin coaster here, good excitement on that. Pair of shuttles just up here, so these are both the same, just sort of, well, they're not the same, they're a mirror image of each other. So there you go, almost the same stats, and the names of them. So Venusian, it's quite obvious, that means referring to Venus. But this other one then, Cytherean, that also means referring to Venus. I looked it up. I looked on Wiki. I'm not that smart and clever. Clever enough to be able to use Wikipedia. But yes, we've got a go-kart track just here, and another Enterprise as well, because they're always popular. So we're building some nice pathing loops. We'll continue that down here as well. It's always good to be able to put rides in the middle of them. It's a very easy way of planning your park out. Works well on the scenarios. Guests don't tend to get lost, and the staff tend to be able to handle that quite easy as well. So yeah, we're probably going to start advertising next year then, and because we only need 1,600 guests, but there is the cap on the park. As you can see, it's remained constant, you know, the odd fluctuation, but yeah, I don't like it, but it is what it is. So let's crack on. It is May year 3, so we've started advertising. Not really seen a very good uptick on the guest numbers, so we'll probably have to start using all the other forms of advertising as well, see if that works. So we've got a swinging coaster here, good excitement on that. So for these ones, there is a requirement that you have lateral G's over a certain amount, so that's why there's this little ugly bend down there. What else have we got there? So we've built a couple of gentle rides just up here, just to see us through to the end of the year, give the guests something to go on. Started reducing some of the rides as well. That didn't work, so what I'll do is I'll start using all the forms of advertising, and we'll see what happens. It is October year 3, so we've got just over 1,400 guests in the park. We need 1,600. So as you can see from the guest graph, it's starting to dip slightly, and the only reason for that is because my advertising for the park has run out. I've got the other forms of advertising on, but this one has run out, so it's just dipped slightly. It's a bit of a pain really, because I'm having to start borrowing some money in order to pay for the advertising some months. It also means that we're having a skimp on some of the rides as well, that we would normally we'd go for bigger and better ones. Like I built this nice wooden coaster here, which isn't too bad. It's not too huge, but you know, I would like to build some maybe bigger and better coasters, but to be honest, the money's not going to be in it on this level. I'm going to need the extra cash for advertising, which is a shame really, because if it was a real park, well, if it was a real park on Venus, you would hope that you wouldn't need money in that sort of distant future. But yeah, so this is good excitement for that. But if there was a real park on Earth where you had enough guests in the park that you were getting a good profit, then you'd be happy with that. If it was a case that you needed to spend all your profits on advertising just to get a few more guests in the park, you wouldn't bother doing it. So we've got a nice twister here, all space related names for the coasters. Then good excitement. It literally just comes down around the corner, a loop, round the corner, loop, and back up. So if the park was busier, this ride would be rammed. But yeah, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to crack on with the advertising. When the money runs low, I'll fast forward. When I've got some extra money, I'll try and build some extra coasters. But I mean, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. We have to advertise in order to do the scenario, and we need money to advertise. So if I can't afford better coasters, then we'll just have to make do with what we got. It is October year 4. We've got 1,750 guests in the park. We need 1,600, so we are going to beat the scenario quite comfortably in the end. So what did we do then? We came in and we spammed an absolute ton of thrill rides. Just up here, I researched thrill rides first before going into shops. What I wanted to do was put down as many rides as quickly as possible, because I was fearful that there would be a guest cap on this scenario, because it's the last but one scenario, and I figured they were going to try and make it hard. And one of the ways that they can do that is by putting the guest cap on, but in reality it doesn't really make it hard, because the only way of completing it is by advertising, and when you advertise, it's quite easy in the end. So I would have preferred if they just made the guest target a lot higher, make it, I don't know, 2,500, 3,000, whatever. Just don't throttle it, because that really annoys me. So going into year 2 then, that's when the guest numbers started to plateau. So we knew at that point then that there was this throttling that they put onto it. So that what happens is, normally the guest numbers start to just keep on coming, and as long as you've got more guests coming into the park than leaving, your guest numbers will go up. When they throttle it, when they put a guest cap on, what that means is you hit the limit, and it'll only send new guests in when guests are leaving. So what we did was we put down a no entry sign just by here, running on fast forward. That way no guests could leave, and sure enough, the amount of guests coming into the park stopped being a constant stream like it is now, but it was like one every few days, just coming in dribs and drabs. As soon as we got rid of the sign and the guests started to leave, the guests started coming back in, because there was guests leaving, so there was space for them to come back in. So I don't like it, but it is what it is. At least we found out early enough so we could do something about it. So we rammed some of the prices up, that way then we were able to get some money in the bank ready for when we were advertising. So we just plonked down a load of cheap and cheerful coasters. What have I built since the last time we spoke then? So I've got my cheap and cheerful looping coasters there. We've got a nice go-kart track over there, because the one I built was really busy at the time. It's not very busy now, but actually it is. That was the queue for the Enterprise. Yeah, it is still busy. So these ones here, so these ones have been renamed to Alpha, these ones are Beta. So there's good excitement on that one there. So we've got the loops, we've seen them before. We've got this one here with the loops around the station, good excitement on that. So these ones then, I've named these after some of the moons of Pluto. Good excitement on this one, but it's broken down. No, what's going on? Broken down. Maybe we'll come back to that later. Yeah, so we've just been building cheap and cheerful, and then the last 2 years then we advertised. Initially I started advertising the park. So on the advertising, you've got 4 different advertising. So I started advertising for Venus Ponds, that's the park name, and nothing really happened. So then I put all my advertising on. So I advertised all 4 of them, and then the guest numbers started to increase. And the only time it's dropped is when we've run out of advertising, and maybe we haven't had the money to put more advertising in. So I had to increase the loan. Because we had paid it off. I've paid it off again now, but we were earlier on, we were sort of running at a loss some months because we were spending all our money on advertising. So what that meant was, because we were spending our profits on advertising, we didn't have enough money to build new rides. And to be honest, I'd rather spend my money on new rides. So it does sort of impact the amount of fun you can have, because when you get to that stage of the game and the money is pouring in, there's nothing better than just building some outrageously big coasters. But we weren't able to do that. So we're about to pass the scenario. It's almost Halloween. I'm guessing they celebrate it on Venus. We'll soon find out if they do. There you go. So it's Halloween now. We're going to pass the scenario. As soon as the game recognizes it, the guests will all cheer, release their balloons. Ooh! Fantastic. There you go. The park with the best roller coasters, just in time. So that was Venus Ponds, which would have been a very good scenario if it wasn't ruined by the throttling and the guest cap. So yeah, that really is. I really don't like that. It doesn't work well on this at all. Someone did comment on one of the videos, I think it was Seven Sands, that on the PC it feels more like a weight that you're dragging as opposed to a hard cap, which would be fine. And I think that's how it felt when I did I can't remember what's the one where you've got the very intense roller coaster, like the sort of the Halloween theme one. But yeah, there was one where it sort of it felt there was a harder guest generation mode enabled on that, and it did feel like a weight being dragged behind you. But this one and Seven Sands, it's just like a barrier in front of you, and you can't pass it unless you start advertising. So we completed it in the end. We had to advertise. Once you do that, it's no problem. I am Stu. This was Venus Ponds. If you've got any questions or feedback, drop me in the comment sections, and I'll see you next time. And the next one is the last scenario of the 95 scenarios that come with the base game. So it could be quite emotional. So I'll see you next time. Bye.